Hi, my name is Celinda, and I'm doing this video to introduce you to a class that I'm going to be teaching at Tricoter Yarn Shop in Seattle, Washington. Tricoter is known for helping you design your own sweaters. These sweaters usually start from the bottom up, and they include a front and a back and 2 sleeves. And there is finishing required to put your project together and complete it. 15 or 20 years ago, I took a class by the designer Karen Alfke, where I was introduced to her Unpatterns. They're very similar to Tricoter's patterns and start with a swatch and some math. The difference is they start from the top down, and you can try the sweater on at several critical points to check the fit. The pattern for this class is a Raglan pullover. From there, you decide exactly what you want. You choose the weight of the yarn, you choose the neckline, you choose what texture you want, you choose how much shaping you need, and after you've established the neckline, you knit the body in the round. Then you knit the sleeves, and you may want to pick up stitches at the end to do some kind of neckline finishing, but essentially you weave in the ends and you're finished with the sweater. So it's designing your own pattern, much like Tricoter, and you don't have to, you can still knit all the patterns from all the designers that you want. But if you find some beautiful yarn and it speaks to you and you know what you want to do with it, you can make a beautiful sweater. And so that's the point of this class. And I'm going to work you through Karen Alfke's pattern. So to prepare for the class, you would purchase the pattern so that you can bring it to class in the form that you want to read it, either the written copy or the digital format. You can buy your yarn, and if you buy your yarn at Tricoter for the project, you will get 20% off the fee of the class. You also will need to bring at least 2 favorite tops that you like how they fit. You like, and it can be a t-shirt or it can be a sweater. It's just that you need at least 2 that you like how they fit and how you want the sweater you're going to make to fit something like that. So if you like them really oversized, you can do that, but if you like it really fitted, then bring a couple of tops that are like that, and we will take measurements from those tops. Also, you will knit a swatch out of your yarn, and it should be at least 4 inches by 4 inches, okay? And so, and we will use that also to make the map. And essentially, Tricoter, our old-fashioned way that we've always done it, is that you knit a swatch and we can design the sweater. So it's very similar. One is bottom up, one is top down. There's less finishing with the top down. And I am excited to introduce Tricoter customers to this technique. Okay, I'm going to show you some examples of different sweaters that I have knit out of different weights of yarn. And so I'm going to hold up a couple. This one has a V-neck. You can see the Raglan sleeve markings. And if you look closely at the body, I did some cute little stitches to make it different. And this is knit out of a fingering weight yarn. It was Shabui Lunar. It might be DK, but it's small. Okay, so you can do that. This one is knit out of a worsted weight yarn, and I did a rounded neckline and you can see again the Raglan sleeve markings, and I added some black to it because I always wear black, and it went with my pants, and it was fun to set it off that way. So there's that. This one is just mohair. Okay, so in fact I think it's Surrey silk and mohair, and yeah, tweed silk. And so I added the white in it because I wasn't sure I would have enough black for this one, and I could add extra stripes in the body if I needed it to lengthen it, but I had plenty. And it has a really nice V-neck, and you can see the little lines again for the sleeves. And what you're going to see from what I'm holding up are the sweaters that I have made. And I wear short sleeves. I wear tees because I get hot. Okay, so this one is art yarn, and it's 100% silk. And so I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, little sparkles. Okay, so I had beaded silk for the top of the body, and as I worked my way down, I faded into, because I didn't have all silk, and the body has less of the white silk in it. I mean the beads. So there's that, and this has a nice scoop round neck, and it also has the pretty little Raglan sleeve. Okay, you can make them long sleeves, and in the class we talk about how to start here and taper down to a thinner sleeve if you want. Okay, I have a couple more. This one is also a round neck, only I did a little bit of a lace look on the Raglan so that you have a little holes in it, and you can kind of see that as a design element down the way. Okay. And then I have a couple more. This is another mohair, light, fluffy, really cool, lightweight V-neck. I can wear long sleeves under it, or I can wear it just like it is, or with a camisole. And I also did the little design element down that way. And there are lots of, and then if you look on this one, I did seed stitch on the sleeve and the bottom to make it look a little bit different. And then I have one more. This was a silk yarn that we had at the shop, and it came as self-striping. And if you look, the stripes match all the way. And I had to play with it a little bit to get the stripes down the sleeves, but it worked out perfectly. And it's another cute little top. So that's just an example of some of the things that I have done with this pattern, and you can see that I've used many different weights of yarn, and you can too. So there's that. Now let me tell you a little bit about the classes. The first class, when you come, will take those swatches that you did and your top and do some measurements, and we will come up with the number of stitches that you need to cast on your sweater. And you will be able to cast on for your sweater and place markers and start knitting. And we'll talk about the neckline and what kind of neckline you want and how you're going to do neckline shaping. So you're going to establish a neckline and be able to join the neckline, like if you're doing a crew neck or a V-neck, before you come back for the second class. And so you'll join and you'll work to the underarm. So you will be increasing as you go, and you'll work in the round, and you'll be at the underarm when you come to class number 2. And at that point, we will check the fit before you move on. So class number 2, wear a camisole so that you can try it on or whatever. We'll all be looking at how they fit, and if you need to knit a little further, or if you've got too much stitches and you need to take out some, we'll determine that so that you're content with the size. And then class number 3. Okay, so then, yeah, in class number 2, and then determine, cast on, place on, yeah. And then when you come to the next class, you're going to divide the sleeves. So we'll fit, we'll try it on, and then you'll divide for the sleeves. And you'll put your sleeves on holders. And there's all different kinds of sleeve holders, and I'll talk about those more in class number 1. But I use, very commonly, my favorite way is I use interchangeable needles that have holders on the end. And I'll have each sleeve on a cable with holders. But you can use different kinds of holders if you want. And so there's that option. But you're going to divide for the sleeves. You're going to add stitches at the underarm to fill out the body. And you're going to then start knitting the body. And you'll knit in the round. At that class, we'll also talk about girly shaping, which if you want curves, or if you don't want curves, or if you need extra over places, or if you want it more fitted, if you want some darts, and also we'll talk about edgings and some of the finishing things, like what kind of collar you're going to do, like yeah, I have projects at different stages, and I'll show you, pardon me here while I show you, like this one I have set up at the divide for the sleeve stage. So we're just ready to divide for the sleeves, and you can see I have needles hanging off of it everywhere. I've done the sleeves in garter stitch, and the front neckline is a little scooped, but I've picked up and finished the collar so that you could see what the collar looks like. And you can do different kinds of collars, you know. You can do a folded over collar, you can do ribbing, or you can, do a I-cord collar or whatever. So there's many options for that, and we'll talk about, here's another one. This one is a folded over collar. So I knitted, and this is not even close to dividing for the sleeves. I'm just starting down this is the front. So here it is, and I've picked up, and I knit twice as much collar as I would need and folded it down and picked it up so that the collar looks like that. And this is another striped sweater I'm doing, and this is out of Amalfi we have at the shop. And so there's different kinds of options for collars, and we'll talk about that in the second class. And then in the last class, you will have knit the body, and you're going to pick up for the sleeves where it's on the holders, and you'll start finishing the sleeves. And at that time, we'll talk about how to calculate for sleeve taper. So if it starts bigger here and you want it to taper down to thin or smaller or not. and how you want your sleeve to look, even puffy sleeves or 3/4 sleeves or whatever. So we'll talk about that, and we will talk more about edging and a little bit of finishing techniques that you'll need at the end, mostly weaving in ends. And so that's the 3 classes that are planned in person, but we should have a party at the end where we all wear our sweaters and show them off. So we might do that also. So I hope that this tempts you to think about the class, and once you know this technique, you can just buy beautiful yarn and make whatever sweater you want in the future. And another thing, one of the things that comes within the pattern at the very beginning, and it's called a Raglan pullover, and we'll put a link to the pattern in so that you can get to it to buy the pattern. But one of the things is it has a little part here that tells you estimated yardage required for a sweater of certain size, bust, and out of certain size yarn. And we have a very similar table at Tricoter that's standard for the bottom-up sweaters. And it's very similar. So once you're out shopping and you're traveling and you're over in Ireland buying a souvenir from your trip, you'll know exactly how much yarn to buy for the lovely sweater you want to make to remember your trip. So I hope this tempts you to be interested in the class, and I look forward to meeting you and working with you.